Using an ingredient in a drug product without full knowledge of its source is like using a toothbrush you found on the street. So everybody's going, yuck, right? Yeah. But it's a good quote that I stole from an IPEC presentation, XEPAC presentation. So let's talk about that a little bit more. So first off, you really have to understand this pedigree of your material, again, all the way back to the source, because the supply chain can be complicated. It could be original manufacturer through a distributor, sometimes one or two. At Spectrum, we repackage products, so we have that activity, and then we'll retest them. So there's all different parties, and finally to the end user. But you need that traceability, because if there's any sort of major quality event or recall or anything like that, you may need to go back to the source to investigate it, or the source may need to communicate down all the way through the end user for whatever they discovered in their shop. So that whole traceability thing is important. And it's also important, we talked about the specification piece on that ICH figure just a moment ago, but it's really important that your specs align all the way through your supply chain, and that you don't, no one along the line is like testing it up. Buying a regular material, and then down the line, maybe a distributor or somebody's like, oh, well, let's take this, calcium sulfate and let's test it to NF grade. You can't do that. You shouldn't do it, but people do. But this the old adage, you can't test quality into the product. It needs to be made according to GMPs. It needs to be aligned with that specification. And if your specs don't align all the way through, you're asking for trouble. When it comes into your hand and you're testing it, and it was never tested upstream for all those parameters, there's a chance that it fails, and then what happens? Again, aligning quality all the way through from start to finish. And then the documentations around suppliers, pretty straightforward stuff, batch records, testing records, certificates of compliance, and a lot of other statements.